Hello, welcome to Inspired Caring. I'm your host, Michelle Magner. If you are caring for an older family member, this is the podcast for you. Each week, I bring insight, tips, inspiration, and strategies to help you care for the people that you love without losing yourself along the way. Having cared for both of my grandmothers, I've helped manage everything from hospital stays, households full of belongings, to navigating senior living and end-of-life care. And I've worked in senior living as a result of that experience, serving my residents and their families as they've been on this journey too. Thank you for joining me today, and I hope you enjoy this episode of Inspired Caring. Hello. Hope you are doing well. Today, I want to talk about feeling enraged. And honestly, I haven't looked up the definition of rage versus enraged, but my dog is like snorting in the background. I don't know if you can hear that, but I apologize. She's being silly. Rage, enraged. I recently had a situation with someone that I care about that really pissed me off. Like a visceral reaction. My body started shaking. I just was majorly pissed off. And I would actually classify it as rage, which apparently is a space that many middle-aged women are familiar with. By the way, I love Jen Mann's book, Midlife Bites. It's a really good read. I kept nodding my head like every paragraph. So go check out that book. But there's a chance that it's our hormonal stage in life that connects us to this emotion of rage. And I share that because my stepsister had asked me if I had gone through menopause yet. And when I had replied no, she looked at my husband and said, "Buckle up." So that's terrifying. But my age has also lowered my bullshit tolerance. I feel like I am finally becoming more familiar with myself. I'm stepping into my power, and I'm just much less interested in putting up with other people's shit at my expense. So in the moment when I read that text that I mentioned earlier, like the surface of the emotions that I was feeling was just rage and feeling super taken advantage of. I was really pissed. And swooning in that rage just fully activated me and reminded me of the dependence that my body has on the fragility of my thoughts. So I'm going to repeat that. My body and the chemicals that I'm producing and how I'm feeling are dependent on the thoughts that I'm having. Because I was literally perfectly fine the moment before I had read the text. And then there I was, barefoot in my kitchen, trying to make some banana muffins, and I'm just smashing the heck out of these bananas, fine pulp. So to reemphasize, it wasn't the text that upset me. It was my thoughts about the text. And what I was making it all mean is what set me off. And it obviously happens super quickly, like split second fast. And this was not how I wanted my Saturday to roll out. I wanted to really quickly get my act together. So I did what came naturally next, and I immediately texted 7 different people to share the outrageous audacity of the situation that was unfolding. I did not respond to that text immediately to that person. I did not respond. I just wanted to process. And of course, my inner circle was just equally appalled, rightly so. And I spent the next 45 minutes in this cross-eyed flurry of texts that was just like kerosene on my rage. So obviously the plan of regrouping just wasn't working. So that was my first strategy to get myself together, right? Was to loop in all of these people into my negative crap And that didn't work, obviously, because negativity is just going to spin up more negativity. So I switched over to some meditation music and started doing some deep breathing. But I wanted to pull my thoughts back. And so instead of continuing just to be eyeball deep in this thing, I literally imagined myself floating above my body, watching me. I moved to becoming an observer of me, not the other person, not the situation happening, but just me, watching my actions and watching and listening to my spiral of thoughts. And I started to gently smile at myself with some compassion. And I wanted to break it down. Why was I so upset? Like, it made sense. Obviously, I had all these people that agreed. This is ridiculous. But why was I so upset? What was my trigger? Like, what was underneath the surface that was causing me to think these thoughts and feel this way? So it was the text that popped up that instantaneously created a thought or multiple thoughts that sent me into this fury. And as I was unpacking the thought, I initially sought external validation that I was right, because I just was so confident that I was right. And actually, this morning on a podcast, I was listening to Oprah, and she asked, "Do you want to be right or do you want peace?" And in that moment, initially, I just wanted to be right. Legit. Like, that's just how I felt. But then once I became an observer of myself, I was much more interested in the peace. Like, I didn't want to spend my whole day in this state, in this space. I observed that my instinct was to turn around and spew negativity on all these innocent people drinking coffee in their living rooms, starting their days. And I'm sure they read my text and they were like, "Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous." So I just made note of that. Like, I don't want to be that person. I don't want to be the person that when your phone lights up and you see my name, you're like, "Oh my gosh, here we go. What is it now?" I mean, if I need support, that's legit. But this was just complaining, right? I didn't really need support. I was just looking for validation. So I observed that and am taking note of that. And then, I mean, just a flurry of back and forth with my inner circle and realizing almost a full hour had gone by of my beautiful Saturday morning. And I was not satisfied with the use of that time. So that was something else I took note of. So when asking myself, why is this really bothering me? I reflected back on my 3 core values. And for me, my 3 core values are integrity. I am who I say I am. I do what I say I'm going to do. And I hope that I'm surrounding myself with people that are the same way. Connectedness, feeling connected with people, feeling connected, a connection with you. And it's a genuine, true connection. Like, we really see each other and know each other. And then faith, my faith in God, my faith that in hope and optimism and believing that things are going to be okay. So the situation, what was happening was the text I read, it was like grating, a direct grating, like a cheese grater. It felt like a direct challenge to all 3 of those things that I feel are so important to me, that are my core values. So that was interesting for me. That was an interesting way for me to start to decompress and peel out some of the rage. And the other thing, at some point I'll do an episode on this, is I believe there's a difference between venting and complaining and strategizing, being proactive. I'm certainly not saying that we all need to just calm ourselves down. There are certainly occasions when rage is the absolute appropriate, in my opinion, emotion or response. But if it's a situation where it feels like it's something that's relatively trivial or minor, we just don't want to keep our bodies in that state because it's so unhealthy for us. It's so toxic and it's so unhealthy. So as I identified those, I remembered my values because that's what my go-to has been in the last year, 2 years. It's like when I'm super triggered on something, how does this affect and tie back to those core values? And I remembered that other people don't have my core values. They just may not. I mean, what I value and is important to me may be different for other people. I remembered that other people get to say and do whatever they want. They're adults. And I get to choose how I respond. I remembered that this has nothing to do with me or my character. This was not a personal attack on me in this situation. They're in their own world, acting how they choose and responding how they choose. And I remembered that I get to set boundaries that feel right to me. And I can set this boundary showing up how I want to show up. And how I want to show up as I walk this earth is as a kind and loving human. And as I tied it back to the core values and I remembered those things, I could feel my breath steadying and I could feel my pulse slowing and I could feel love instead of anger brewing. And I am not perfect. Perfect doesn't exist. I'm a coach and I'm still privileged to feel all the feels, all the emotions that humans have been provided. And I have the tools to process and move through them in a way that helps me feel proud of myself. Even if it means in the moment I may feel bad or screw it up or blow it, and then have to reflect and take a next step back to myself, back towards myself. So I responded to the text from a genuine place of love and lightness, simply stating that I was actually unavailable because the truth in that moment was I was unavailable. There were other things that I needed to do with my time. But I was also unavailable to get tangled up in what I was perceiving to be a messy situation. So I held to my values and I was honest. And of course, the rest of the story is completely uneventful because then it was done. Nothing else happened. The response was, okay, sounds good. So next time you feel your engines firing up and you're gearing up for battle, which I know so many families in situations, you're constantly presented just stuff to make you upset. It's really hard to care for other people. And it can be really hard when there's a lot of other family members involved or people involved that feel like they get a vote or to weigh in or whatever. So just when you feel yourself gearing up for battle, I invite you to go through this process and see what comes up for you. Or even if you're not having to gear up for battle or deal with other people, just when situations arise that fire you up and just trigger you and make you feel just rage. I invite you to go through the process here and see what comes up for you. Whatever you are facing right now, whatever battles or wounds, we're all walking wounded, whatever burdens you have or you're feeling in your life, I want you to know that I love you and I see you. And you're doing a great job showing up in your life every day. Keep focusing on what you are feeling grateful for and what is working. Your brain is working so hard for you to solve the questions and the problems that continue to present themselves. So maybe ask it a different question, or maybe give it the question of, what am I feeling grateful for right now? Just look back at the last 24 hours and think about that. Give your brain a break. Keep up the great work. And I love you, and I will be with you next week. See you then.